Good morning, channel friends. Hi. Day 2, and today we're working on these two pieces of furniture. They need to talk to each other because we want to blend them with the surroundings. There's a beautiful wallpaper on this wall, and they need to look good together. The owner doesn't want them dark because she wants this room to always be lovely and bright. So we're going for a shade you haven't seen in a while, Grey Balm. Of course, we'll go for a semi-modern look because we want to lighten them up and give them a fresher look. They are two very beautiful pieces of furniture. They are not worn or damaged. They have no woodworms, no holes. They are perfect, and it is a pleasure to work on something that does not require effort, right? Every now and then. Today, there is no effort required, so we will just paint them. Let's start. Today we're starting with Grey Balm and clear sand. I'll start by doing the whole structure with Grey Balm, while Emma will use clear sand on the drawers and these central panels. Emma, you start by taking off the knobs so we can set them aside, because they're beautiful and we'll definitely reuse them. Today we'll use both the pointed brush and the Elizabeth brush. Two brushes, because you need to get right into the corners of this piece of furniture, which has lots of moldings, and with the Elizabeth brush to get a nice smooth finish. This is also because the furniture is very glossy. So, we'll split the tasks so we don't get in each other's way. I'll start over here. With the pointed brush, I'll do the edges, and with the Elizabeth brush, I'll tackle the wider, smoother areas. This way, I'll get a perfect and flawless coat of paint. See, this is what you should expect from the first coat of paint. So don't worry if there are a few streaks left after the first coat. Even with such a fantastic and high-performance brush like the Elizabeth, this is perfectly normal. With the second coat, we will remove the streaks and achieve total coverage. Again, pointed brush and I work on the angles. That way, I don't struggle. This way, I get right into the grooves and can avoid all the application issues that might come up. Make sure you press down firmly and hold the brush by the ferrule. It's essential to grip the brush by the ferrule and not by the top of the handle. If you don't press down, you won't get a nice application, and you won't be able to apply enough pressure if you hold the brush by the handle. So you really need to hold it by the base of the ferrule. This will help you avoid wrist pain at the end of the day and achieve a clean, precise application. Now, here I'm joining the colored parts, and I'll continue with something very important. Never go against the grain of the wood. What is the grain of the wood? You see how the wood runs in this direction, on this side, vertically. The grain has lines in this direction. You need to paint following the grain of the wood, like this. You don't have to do this, no. If you do this, you can do it only if you are using a crossed brush stroke, meaning horizontal and then vertical strokes. You see, here I have to go like this, here like this, a nice, smooth, clean application, but carried out like this. Let's continue. You must always remember one very important thing. Whenever you're painting a nice, high-quality piece of furniture, not a cheap, mass-produced one, but an antique, let's say, something with real history and value. When using magic paint, you are not ruining anything. When someone says it's a pity and I am ruining it, you really need to stop for a moment and use your head. Let's think about it, not just repeat what we've heard from others or say things out of habit, or because you like wood. That person doesn't like it, and do you know what that person does? They take that piece of furniture, and in the worst case, they take it to the dump, or maybe, just maybe, they take it to a second-hand dealer, or at least to a flea market. So, what's better? To keep a family heirloom, to hold on to something that perhaps our grandmother or our mother cherished deeply, and change it. Change its appearance, change its color, or simply get rid of it as it doesn't suit our home. We need to start being, let's say, a bit more forward-thinking. Let's think things through. We waste too much, we throw away too many things, and it's time for all of us to take a good look at ourselves and realize that getting rid of some furniture, just to buy new pieces, is completely stupid and pointless, especially when you have a quality piece in your hands. The beautiful piece made from fine wood like this one, which could easily last another 100 years. But why am I telling you not to ruin it? Did you see me picking up the sander? Did I sand the surface? No. Did I strip it, take it down to bare wood, and then paint it? No. Did you see me use any special solvents, stress the surface, damage the wood underneath, scratch it? No. All of this should make you think and understand that if one day you want to restore this beautiful piece of furniture to its original glory, all you'll need to do is use my biodegradable paint remover, which is absolutely not solvent-based. It will remove magic paint and bring back the original wood. But do you know why it doesn't get damaged? Apart from the fact that I haven't used sandpaper to scratch the wood to make the paint stick. Do you know why? Because I don't use paint that contains water, I don't add water, so the wood doesn't swell. If in 3, 4, 5, or even 10 years the owner of the house gets tired of this piece of furniture, can go back exactly to how it is now, maybe nourished with a bit of wax and restorateur. Magic paint, therefore, never ruins colored furniture. Use your head. Don't post comments on social media just because you've got a tongue in your mouth. Think about it. Second coat of Grey Balm and clear sand on both pieces of furniture. The paint is still undiluted. As before, I load up both brushes because I use both the pointed one and the Elizabeth. The second coat of Grey Balm is pure poetry because if you look closely, apart from the amazing coverage, there's nothing to be done. It's just a beautiful, wonderful color. This was one of the very first shades created at Magic Paint. I wanted a warm grey. It's velvety and it's exactly what I wanted. It's truly an amazing color. Just stunning. It makes everything look elegant, light, and perfect. Look at this. What a difference. First and second coat. Anyway, I'll carry on with everything. And on the other one too. The furniture is drying, so now I'm creating a third color by mixing Grey Balm with clear sand together. I kept a little bit of Grey Balm in the jar I used before, which was about halfway full. Now, I'm adding a bit more to it. I'll make about half a jar, more or less. Why am I doing this? because I want to paint both this main surface and all the edges, including the frames of the wardrobe, where the clear sand and Grey Balm colors meet. I'll add a bit more clear sand and stir. I'm doing it very randomly. You know I'm very instinctive when I create colors. I just want a color that reflects both. Look at it. It's a bit lighter than Grey Balm, and it's obviously darker than clear sand. Maybe I'll add a tiny drop more of clear sand to make it just a touch lighter. That's it, now I like it. I mix it well and then paint the surface, and I start with the little borders using a small brush. I'm going to leave this crack in the wood, and later I'll definitely highlight it with a very light antiquing. But for the rest of the top, I'll use the Elizabeth brush. It has great coverage, and now I also have my third color option. Jasmine Wax, a brush I never usually use for jasmine wax, but today I feel like using this one. It spreads the wax quickly and evenly everywhere. If you use a brush that you normally use for painting for the wax, make sure you either write on it used for wax or tie a big, noticeable ribbon on it, because if you end up using it for paint afterwards, it could cause you problems. So, let's make a note of it. I take the wax and really load up the brush well, then I apply it with crossed brush strokes. So first horizontally, like this, and then vertically. This is the only way to make sure the wax protects the entire surface 100%. You shouldn't overdo it with the wax. You need to spread it well and use just the right amount without going overboard, because it's not the case that the more you put on, the better it protects. In fact, the layer should be thin and even. So, load the brush, and if there's any excess, wipe it off. Rub it in well, working the wax thoroughly into the surface, first moving your hand horizontally. If you have a very rough or uneven surface, you can also use circular motions, then smooth it out, following the direction of the initial brush stroke. It's important that the wax is applied evenly, because soon I'll be doing the patterner with colored waxes. I'll be mixing 2 colored waxes to give an aged effect to certain spots. Not too much, just a little bit. So, if you apply the color underneath badly, without a nice, even brush stroke, or if you apply the wax badly, again without a nice, even brush stroke, then the flaws will show. So, make sure you use a good brush for the application and a good technique. Same goes for this side. Emma is preparing the colored waxes. I've applied the wax everywhere, and now I want to give it a slight, aged effect with the Glam Wax. Be careful, because I've applied the wax everywhere except on the white drawers, and on the sideboard. I've applied the wax everywhere except on the white panels. Why? Because on those panels I'm going to apply 2 different transfers, but they go very well together. The Magnolia for the chest of drawers and the mixed flowers for the other one. Then I'll also apply the clear wax to the drawers, and afterwards I'll gently age them with this wax. I'm using the Glam, the Dove Grey wax, because I don't want a proper aged look, but I do want to create a different effect. I don't want a uniform, clean color either, but rather a marbled effect, and this wax is truly fantastic for that. Make sure to use a brush that's specifically for wax application. Load it up well with wax, and I don't apply it everywhere. I'm going to concentrate on the angles. Personally, I don't go over the central part. I don't cover every single area. I start by the corners and edges, like this. You see, the color isn't too dark. it's actually very subtle, and of course, since I applied the clear wax underneath and didn't let it dry, didn't remove it, just left it there to hydrate and nourish the furniture and protect it without wiping off the excess, it's still soft to the touch. Now, I take a dry cloth and I remove just a bit of the excess. See how easy it is to do this step. If you look closely, you'll notice that here, the antiquing remains visible, and here, it stays as well, but don't overdo it. Now I'm going to slightly highlight this crack in the wood, and I will do the same with the bottom and the entire perimeter, let's say. On the side, and here too. Here, where there's this little crack, and here, where there's this lovely detailing with all the beads, I press the brush down firmly because it needs to go really deep into the nooks and crannies to get the best antiqued effect. It's important to do the whole side, but only in the spots where time itself would have naturally aged it, without actually making the whole surface too dirty. I also do the top part, here and here as well. Remember the important trick. The longer you leave the solid wax on the surface, the less you will end up removing when you wipe it away. Now, only a few moments have passed since I applied the wax, so I gently lighten it. Look, you can see that the wax settles only in certain spots, not in others. So, with a dry cloth, we can gently remove it. I am not doing it too much. We do it here as well, you see. I'm antiquing, yes, but I'm doing it gently and carefully. It only goes where there's deep antiquing, here too. Here I've taken off a bit too much, but I can put it back on. Remember, if you don't like it because you've removed too much, you can put it back, wait a few moments and then remove it again. Now, I'll wait for a little while. Meanwhile, I'll gently lighten it up here, as you can see. Look, even on this spot, I'm removing a bit of the excess. And now I'm doing it here too, in one of the prettiest parts, where there is this pearly corner, which will remain more visible, but not too much. Let's not dirty it too much, just a little. It needs to stay very delicate and soft. I do this step to even it out, and I do this other step to remove the excess material, and that's it. As you can see, it's a very light, extremely delicate antiquing process, which, of course, I need to do everywhere on the piece, not just in a few spots or areas. I'll go over the front as well, making sure to cover everywhere, even on the top surface. Let's see how to do it on the top, because a larger, smoother surface is different from a side with lots of moldings. I follow this crack that clearly needs to be highlighted and brought out. I also work back here. This side as well, which I haven't done yet. If I need to reinforce a bit here, I simply do it, since I can always remove it later if necessary. This central crack, of course, needs to be highlighted very delicately, but even here, just a subtle touch of toning wax is enough. This wax really has a beautiful, unique color because it's neither brown nor gray. It has a very delicate, refined tone. I lighten it up gently. You see, when you use waxes for patinating, you get a tone that isn't completely uniform, it's soft. You see, it's that easy even on the top part. Using the colored waxes to create a patina is very easy and relaxing. You just need to remember that in the short term, as you go over it with the cloth, you lighten it, and if you want to emphasize it instead, you just need to reapply the wax, reapply the color. Now, the shade of color we've achieved on the chest of drawers is completely different from the one already on the wardrobe, which still needs to be antiqued. It looks really delicate and subtle, but actually, it makes a big impact. You'll see a color that isn't uniform, not homogeneous. It's soft and textured, and very elegant. Here, you can see that the tone is already slightly duller, while the wardrobe behind us is still white and bright across the entire surface. I really like the antique look, but it's very subtle. Let's start applying our first transfer to the cabinet, Magnolia Grandiflora. We need to cut out all of the flowers, because this transfer doesn't have a single design, but instead features lots of individual flowers that can be combined to create a beautiful floral arrangement, as you can clearly see on the back. Here, you can really see what's included in the transfer, so we're going to cut them all out so that they're separated, and that way, we can create the design however we like. I've already started cutting out one of the two sheets. Now I'm separating the flowers and leaves. Actually, to be more precise, I've divided them into 3 groups: flowers, leaves, and small flowers. This way, when we begin the process of creating the design, it'll be even easier. We'll be making a design that's very similar to the one you can see right here on the packaging, starting from the very top and then working our way down, step by step. Why do we do it this way? Because we want to create a design that develops gradually. So, we'll begin by starting from this part right here, which is the furthest away, and then we'll gradually move to the lower part, which is actually the biggest and also the closest to us. So, Emma, I'd suggest starting with this one right here. Okay. Now, you carefully remove the protective transparent film. Is that okay? Yes, that's fine. You apply it, and as always, you rub it properly. I highly recommend waiting at least a few hours before you apply the transfer, just as I did. Make sure you do the same. The surface really needs to be completely and totally dry. If the surface isn't dry, the transfer won't stick properly. As you can see here, it stuck immediately because we applied the paint this morning, allowed it to dry thoroughly, and then the transfer adhered absolutely perfectly and immediately. So, if it doesn't stick well, it's definitely because the surface is still damp. You'll notice this if you touch it, as you can actually feel the moisture. Now, for the second flower, this one, it needs to slightly cover the stem. Of course, we arranged it beforehand to see if we like the placement, like this. What do you think? Okay, so now I'll put it here like this, and obviously there will be a point where it joins with the stem here. First, I stick this part down and I can choose between 2 options. I can either use a blade or scissors to cut it so that it's easier to continue sticking the design onto the less convenient part. Here too, it's nice and dry. Look how quickly it sticks down. Can you take it? I'll finish this, and then we'll stick it on the branch that continues. And voila, go ahead and put the piece on. In this spot, we will then put something that will cover this small piece where the transfer broke, so it will be easily hidden. But first, let's move on with the rest. Let's apply the second leaf. Perfect. Then I will put the flower that overlaps here and then join them together. Beautiful. This flower, do you want it like this, or would you prefer it like that? Like this? Yes, exactly. So, shall we do it like this, then? Yes, let's do it this way. Like this. It looks really good like that, I think. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's make it stick up to here, then use the blade and recut. Like this. Can you please hold it for me? This way, we won't damage the transfer at all. Before the application. And voila! Let's apply this now. I'll carry on, and in just a little bit, I'll show you how it's going. I've already applied the clear wax to the chest of drawers, and Emma is finishing applying the clear wax to the wardrobe. I'm starting with the Glam wax in the areas where I put the transfers. If you want to see how I applied this transfer, you'll have to look for today's live, because I showed it there. Emma, what number was it? 209's Wednesday Live. If you go on my YouTube channel, you'll always find them all nicely organized. So today's one will have its own photo with the transfer on the cover, so you can spot it straight away, and of course it'll be clearly titled as well. As you can see, I'm only going around the edges. I wouldn't recommend going too much over the transfer because the transfer has a border around it, and what happens if you go too close with the colored wax and the brush, right where that border is? You risk making it stand out too much. Instead, by working like this, treating the surface carefully at the edges, but not getting too close, you avoid drawing too much attention to it. There we go. Now I'll carry on with the chest of drawers, and in a moment I'll show you how it turns out. A light touch of Glam wax on the wardrobe too, specifically in the area where we placed our beautiful Magnolia. Look closely. I go really well into the inlays. If you use this wax, or perhaps another colored wax of your choice, this is always the process to follow. Please, be careful not to go over the area with the design itself, but instead stick only to the edges, because in this particular case, we would end up highlighting the sections of the design too much, right? So, I take the cloth, a soft and gentle piece of fabric, to soften the design. I spread it along the edges too. I do this work. Look how beautifully soft and smooth it becomes. Here too, I blend the edge like this, here where there's the long part, here as well. I soften everything, but as I was saying, I don't go over the center where the design is, because otherwise I risk making the edge where I stuck the transfer stand out too much. Make sure you choose the colored wax according to the restyling you're doing. I think here the Glam wax is really perfect for the tones I've chosen. This double restyling is finished as well. I'll quickly sum up. I chose two colors, Clear Sand and Grey Balm. Why did I choose them? Because they go well with the paper, and because the homeowner wanted to brighten up the room. We created a third color, which is visible, but not too much, to gently and subtly finish off the edges here and the top part. I didn't want to use the Grey Balm color as it is, because it would have been too heavy. Instead, by making it slightly lighter, it provides that subtle, elegant look. Here too, you can't quite make it out, but you know there's a frame, so it's something very, very subtle. Second step, protect with wax, because we wanted to give it an aged look with the Glam wax, but just a little, with that taupe color, delicate, which now serves as a finish. We chose two different transfers, but they go perfectly together because they have the same shades, the same color tones. In fact, Both the mixed flowers here and the magnolia here look great. And we also added a few butterflies from the mixed flowers onto the piece with the magnolia, because we wanted to tie them together. In this room, everything is magic paint. The walls are vintage rose. There are 2 other pieces of furniture done using the same method we used today, 3 coats of eye balm, a few touches of wax, and even the door is my Parisian, which I did a few years ago. Now, please, if you want to see how I applied this transfer live, sharing some important tips, head over to the Elisa and Magic Paint channel and you'll find all the live streams. This one in particular is number 209. Just think how many live streams we do. And remember, the products used cannot be found on Amazon, but only on the website magicpaint.it, the only Italian site where you can find your trusted retailer, because there's a map divided by region with your favorite and most trusted retailers. And it's also the only Italian site where you can make purchases online. So don't forget, magicpaint.it. Goodbye.